Hello everybody. Okay, so we'll start this lesson with a quick point here. It is absolutely essential that you've done the work of sessions 1 and 2. That basically means three things. That you have come up with a topic for your speech, i.e. we all have a moral duty to do more to protect the environment, to stand up against racism, whatever you've chosen. 2, that you have planned your ideas. You have spent some time on the internet researching your topic, making notes of facts relating to your topic, quotations from people who are experts in your topic, anecdotes, short stories from real life experience that people have had about your topic. 3, that you have then planned that into the structure. Yeah, the structure I went through with you in the last session, which is this. Please only do sessions 3 and 4 if you have done sessions 1 and 2. I am conscious that sessions 1 and 2 is actually a lot of work. Researching properly, reading around the topic and making notes takes a long time, and I'd much prefer you to use your time this week to research and to have loads of notes on your topic and just send those notes to your teacher rather than to continue with these lessons. Okay, so if you feel happy, you have researched, you've got a topic, you've researched it, you've planned it in the format I've shown, then great, have a go at sessions 3 and 4. If you haven't been able to do all the research because it takes a long time, focus on that and do not do sessions 3 and 4. Thank you. Okay, so for those of you who are going to do session 3, this session is all about style. Really, this is just about actually writing the speech. And we're going to focus on this a lot more next week. But I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of speeches you can look at to help build your understanding of different ways and styles of speech. So fundamentally with rhetoric, there are 3 different styles you can choose, known as high, middle and low. High style is the types of speeches that you hear politicians giving, that the types of ones I pick as examples and the things you're going to do in yours really. Lots of metaphor, elaborate verbal patterns, complex language, sophisticated use of rhetorical figures, that should say, not sure how those words got deleted. So those really complex speeches that have got really clever language, lots of patterns and lots of rhetorical figures. The middle style is a grand style of address, so you're still using all these rhetorical figures and complex patterns, but with a more plain spoken edge. It's perhaps a little bit less metaphorical. And then a low style is when it's really conversational and colloquial, when the person delivering the speech talks almost in the same way that they would if they were just having a casual conversation with a friend. Now, of course, the best speakers blend all 3 styles. So for the best speakers, we'll have parts which are very grand and metaphorical, parts where they use lots of rhetorical figures, but then some bits where they're quite blunt and plain and to the point. Bits where they deliberately want to sound friendly and conversational, and bits where they deliberately want to sound clever and dramatic. So that's the challenge, is blending the 3 in most instances. Okay, so for you to get a sense of this, what I have put on the next couple of slides are 2 speeches. Now, both of these speeches were delivered by men on the eve of leading their troops into a battle situation. Speech 1 was delivered by Colonel Tim Collins on the eve of the Iraq War. The British troops were due to enter Kuwait and were in Kuwait, and they were due to enter Iraq to enter into battle, and he delivered a speech to his men which was recorded by a journalist who was with them and has become quite famous. Speech 2 is a bit older. It's delivered by an American general back during World War II, just before the Allied invasion of France. And it was again intended to motivate men to go into a combat situation. What I'd like you to do is to read through both of the speeches, and remember the slides are on Show My Homework for this lesson, so you may find it easier to open the slides rather than read the speeches on the screen. And all I want you to do is to decide which style they're in. Which one would you say is high or medium style, and which is low style? Okay, so you can obviously pause it. This is the speech 1, it goes over 2 slides. So you can obviously pause this first slide and read it, and then pause this slide and read through it. Or, as I say, go to show my homework and find the document, and you might find it easier to read it that way. And then again, this is speech 2, so you can pause this speech and read it. So can you please reverse, rewind, use this video, read both of the speech and decide which you think is in a high or medium style and which you think is low style. Okay, well done guys. So hopefully you all identified speech 1 has that high or medium style. Much more complex language and patterns and references to the Garden of Eden and other biblical sites, and lots more kind of high language. Whereas good old, this one, good old General Patton, he uses a much more blunt style, doesn't he? Sure, we all want to go home. We want to get this war over with, but you can't win a war lying down. You can hear him saying it, and it's much more kind of brutal and blunt in its language rather than the kind of more metaphorical and biblical language of the first one. What I'd like to consider now is to pause this and to consider, given that these speeches were aimed at young men about to go into battle, a very dangerous situation, which do you think is most powerful for the intended audience? And can you just pause the video and make a few notes of which one, not necessarily you prefer, but which one you think might have been more powerful? Okay, thanks guys. So obviously everyone's going to be different. I mean, personally, I really like speech 1. I think it's lovely the way he shows so much respect for the Iraqi culture. He uses that antithesis between the language of battle, the language of violence, but also the language of kindness and respect, which is, to me, is so beautiful to think that that's a message that the soldiers are going in with, that war isn't just about violence, war is also about compassion for human life. Whereas this one is much blunter, much more brutal, much more violent. However, some people, I read a book about this recently, who are in the military much prefer this one, because they actually say that when you're about to go into a war situation, something a bit more conversational can kind of resonate more, you can get it more. So it's an interesting thing, isn't it? But I think both speeches are famous because both of them are powerful in their own way. What I'd like to do is to look at speech 1 a little bit more closely, because I think there's some really nice things you can learn from that about how to be a good speaker. And I've just written 5 questions for you to answer. So can you please pause the video, reread bits of the speech and just answer the 5 questions. And that's it for today. Thank you very much.